This program is paid for by Innovative Medical Associates. All opinions or statements expressed on the program are solely those of Innovative Medical Associates or their guests and do not reflect the opinions of WPH.D or Odyssey.
Talk Radio 1210 WPH.D, WPH.D HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. Now, Health Watch, featuring Dr. Molly FANTASIA, the Ph.D. doctor and founder of Innovative Medical Associates, with valuable information that could help you improve your quality of life. Now, Health Watch, and your host, John Damazzi.
A beautiful day in the neighborhood and a beautiful day to get healthy. And that's what we always say here on the program. Health Watch every Sunday, 8 till 9, here on Talk Radio 1210. Good to have you with us as always. And as you heard the man say, Dr. Molly FANTASIA is here. She is the Ph.D. doctor and the executive director and the founder of Innovative Medical Associates located in Marlton, New Jersey. 855-839-1210 is the number here in the studio, 855-839-1210. At any time during the course of the show, if you have a question for Dr. Molly or if you have a medical challenge you want to run by her, feel free to call in at 855-839-1210. And as always, Dr. Molly, a beautiful day to get healthy no matter what the weather, right?
Sure it is, John. Sure it is. A little warm, but it's good.
Okay, before we get into the show, I wanted to really explain what the essence is of what you do. and this,
good, John.
this really tells you everything you need to know about Dr. Molly and her practice and how they handle patients. So I walk in on my regular day, Tuesday, one of my regular days, and Dr. Molly looks at me and says, "I don't like the way you look," which was not being derogatory.
No,
it was,
no.
It was just I don't like this.
I didn't like your color.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm running some blood work. So you run some blood work, and you didn't like a few things, and
Right.
you've given me some supplements to help out,
and
you
augmenting
changed
the
your
bag. Right.
So the point is that who does that?
Well,
you do it.
Well, I think the point of that goes to the fact that we are not a hydration spa. In other words, when you come in to see us, I mean, I have, one of the things I want to say is nurses are trained to observe. Do you know that?
Yes.
They
right.
observe.
Right.
And I sort of have that eye. I observe. After many years of seeing everybody for as many times as I see them, when you come in, I'm observing, and my nurses are observing. You'd be surprised how many times they come into me and they say, if I hadn't come out on the floor yet, they'll come in and say, I don't care how this person looks. I'll say, what are you saying? I'll go back out. I'll talk to the docs. I'll say, listen, I think it's time for us to rerun some things on this patient, particularly because we know your medical history.
Right.
That's the key. So what we try to do is we try to bring the history along with what's going on so that, by the way, the body's ever changing, right?
Absolutely.
We're always changing. And so the point is, I'm a lucky woman in that I have wonderful nurses, wonderful tech, and we are just looking to help our patients in every realm.
I just wish that I had taken my mother to see you because...
your mother was a trip, though. She was a great lady.
But it just... I wanted to bring this out because sometimes it's hard for people to understand when we talk here about what you do, but this is a perfect example of what you do and how you do it and how it's different from anybody else.
Well, you're working out of clearly a primary care facility, and that's the key. And that's what we do. When we look at our patients, that's what we're doing. And again, I don't treat, but boy, my nurses do take great care. And I'm a lucky woman in that we are looking at our patients, and we also run a lot of the data. So we're very lucky, John.
Which leads us to the question, what is Innovative Medical all about, and how is it different? And I kind of gave an example of how it's different, but
sure.
Explain what it's all about.
Again, all the innovative practitioners are cooperative, working together with one goal in mind, to help a patient in functional medicine, meaning how they feel, quality of life. But, we can do that both with regular medicine, if you'd like to call that, conventional Western medicine. So if you need a prescription, my docs will write a prescription. If you need to have some type of radiology, they'll write for the radiology. But really, the philosophy of the practitioners and the philosophy of our entire facility is we want to treat you with the least amount of pharmaceutical as we can to effectuate the change, keep you safe medically when the doc says it's okay, and then move you through a continuum to improve your quality of life. That's really the key, John. The quality of life issue is where we focus.
And, you know, it's important for people to understand how you do that. And, of course, the hydration is the cornerstone
is the vehicle
of what you do.
Exactly right. And because the hydration allows us to utilize natural products, meaning vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and utilize them in a therapeutic way, which means a level that actually can help the pharmaceutical effectuate the change using less of it, or effectuate the change in helping someone reduce the amount if they're on multiple meds, or reduce their need to take any.
And a perfect example, as I was talking about what you did the other day, is a normal situation would probably have you or the doctor prescribing something.
Well, yeah, but
in your case, or in my case, you gave me a supplement.
Right, we tweaked
and
it.
you tweaked the hydration.
Right. Well, you know, the other thing, John, is very important. We believe in doing blood work. When you come in for your first visit, we will give you a dose of whatever it is that we're trying to do, but we're also going to draw bloods to check your kidney functions, your liver, this kind of thing, because we want to make sure that we're able to help you in a way that doesn't put anyone in harm's way.
And when you talk about the hydration, and I've always asked you this, you know, we know about side effects to prescription meds.
Sure.
What about the hydration?
Well,
what about
course.
natural substances? Are there...
Of course. The thing about natural substances is, from my perspective, and I do a lot of work in the natural remedies, so to speak, you look at them and there's a million that do the same thing. How do you know which ones you're getting? How do you know you're getting a dose that's therapeutic in nature that will actually help you effectuate the change? This is the problem. People go into the health food store. People order off of the internet. More and more people are ordering all their supplements off the internet. Well, guess what? If you don't know what you're really getting, how do you know it's ever going to work?
Right.
And instead, what happens is people give up on the natural substance. And really, that's God's ingredients. We shouldn't give up on it. We just need to learn how to use it.
They give up on that, but they don't give up on the prescription.
Right,
and eventually what you try to do is
help you reduce that
Exactly.
prescription, because guess what? You're going to be, most of the people who we see have chronic conditions. Let's face it, age-related chronic conditions. They have things, and many of my people come into us and they've been exacerbated by other pharmaceuticals. They've been inundated and nothing has worked. Guess what? We try to look at that too. How do you even know you're on the right medication? Sometimes it's all touch and go.
Exactly.
Right.
So you don't know.
That's the same with the nutraceuticals, right? But the one thing I can assure people of, when we sit down to go over your nutraceuticals, you're going to be pointed in a direction of good brands and appropriate amounts so that we can augment your hydration and deliver a quality product to you so that we can start to see the effect and effectuate your change.
And we should mention you don't sell any supplements.
Very few. Very
a couple
few.
of things you have in
right.
your...
Mostly as
Right.
it relates to the hydration, because people can't always find this. But if you can get it off, I tell people going in, here, start to take this. You can order your next batch right off the web. We don't do a markup in most of our nutraceuticals we have there.
Yeah, and it's important to understand that you need to get education before. Just don't walk into the health food store and say,
Right.
give me 10 of these, 3 of those, 4 of those.
John, you're the prime example of that. Boy, you were getting some medication. It was for male prowess or some darn thing. I never saw anything like it. You said you were at a fair or some kind of venue.
Convention, yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, when I looked at that, I couldn't believe it. Then I had another patient who came to see me, and the entire package was written in Chinese. And I'm saying, listen, yeah. You could see something that you'd recognize every once in a while because it was an Americanized style name, but next to it was all Chinese. It was like, well, unless I call my friends, I can't really get this translated for you, so I wouldn't take it.
Right.
Right? So, I mean, there's a lot to be said for what's out there, folks.
We are coming up on our first break in the morning. Our program is called Health Watch, And you'll find us here every Sunday from 8 until 9 here on Talk Radio 1210. Dr. Molly Fantasia is here. She is the PhD doctor and the executive director and the founder of Innovative Medical Associates, located in Marlton, New Jersey. You got a question for Dr. Molly, a medical challenge you want to run by her? Now's the time to pick up the phone. We always tell you, call in early because we have plenty of time to talk to you and kind of go over your situation. 855-839-1210 is the number. 855-839-1210 with Dr. Molly Fantasia. I'm your host, John DeMasi. We both return after these words. Hi, it's John DeMasi, host of Health Watch, heard every Sunday morning 8 till 9 and again from 4 till 5 here on Talk Radio 1210. Is chronic pain or fatigue making it difficult for you or maybe someone you know to enjoy simple pleasures like walking your dog or spending time with the grandkids? Dr. Molly Fantasia and the healthcare team at Innovative Medical Associates offer medical hydration therapy. Their autoimmune therapy program has helped hundreds of patients to feel better and do more.
We can bring a patient to a better quality of life and then a healthier approach to their entire condition.
Visit innovativemedicalassociates.com to learn more about their autoimmune therapy program. Join me and Dr. Molly Sundays, Health Watch, 8 till 9 and again 4 till 5 here on Talk Radio 1210. And we're back here on Health Watch. Operator standing by right now at Innovative Medical Associates. If you would like to find out more, and you want to make an appointment to sit down with Dr. Molly, remember the initial consultation is complimentary. Pretty simple. You just do that. You find out a lot about what Dr. Molly does and her staff, and you'll see the facility. Really, it's an educational experience as well as informative. So you want to check that out. 856-489-0505 is the number. 856-489-0505. It's Innovative Medical Associates, Marlton, New Jersey. Innovative Medical Associates, Marlton, New Jersey. And the website, innovativemedicalassociates.com. Innovativemedicalassociates.com is the website. Check that out. A lot of good information on there as well. It is Health Watch, Sundays 8 till 9, Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Dr. Molly Fantasia is here and ready to talk to you at 855-839-1210. Before we get back into the show, it's supposed to be hot today, and the UV index is supposed to be high. Like 9.
Right.
Okay. So this is a good time to talk about Dr. Molly's skincare products.
Right.
And the sunblock,
which
I used yesterday.
Good,
Let me tell
John.
you something.
Yeah,
Let me
you
tell
look good.
It's interesting. I mean, I don't know anything about skincare. You're the expert.
No, I'm not the expert. Dr. Glass is the expert.
But the thing is that you put this on and you can see when it comes to the ability for this product to block the sun for you as opposed to something that you may buy over the counter. So I want you to check that out. You go on the website, Dr. Molly's website, innovativemedicalassociates.com, and check on the skincare line. And
I'm sorry, John. You're saying the radio show is not going on the air.
Oh, okay. Are we on the air, Jim? We're getting word that we're not on the air. Are we? Okay, we're on because we're getting
people are calling the
people
office.
are calling and saying that they're not on the air. So
okay.
Anyway, you could check that.
Maybe not.
All of a sudden, in the middle of the show, okay,
I got a message. Okay, I don't know.
We're on.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Okay.
They're saying we're not on the air. I don't know what that means. Okay, thank you, John.
All right. 855-839-1210. Well, listen, at least call in if you're listening to us and you hear us on the air.
Please
somebody call in and just say, "Hey,
here.
I hear you."
Yeah, that's right. That would be very helpful. John, if you're out there listening or any of my patients, please call the radio station and let us know that you really are hearing us.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. 855-839-1210 is our number. I know you wanted to talk about regenerative medicine.
Well, because
can you define it first?
Sure. Let's define it the way we define it within the framework of our facility. So we believe it's a discipline that seeks to augment the body's natural process of healing damaged tissue. Now, how does the tissue get damaged? Well, it can get damage through trauma, through disease, maybe some genetic issues, and aging, of course. Now the question is, what do we use? We want to self-stimulate the body to help it heal itself. So again, all of the modalities that we use in the regenerative medicine group is really to do just that, John. So it's not rocket science. What we're doing is we're calling on the body to help promote its own healing process. And of course, you hear me talk about things like PRP, and that's one of the ways, platelet-rich plasma. And you hear me talk about people who have neurodegenerative diseases, and that's where I want to go with this right now.
Okay, and we're going to talk about that, neurodegenerative. I know you wanted to bring this up. You have a patient with Parkinson's. You've had several patients with Parkinson's.
Yes.
Talk about that and what you would be doing to help a particular patient.
Well, Parkinson's is a tough road to hoe, okay? It is a progressive neurological disease. And really, many times, even today, with all of the strides we've made in medicine, we don't always understand everything about Parkinson's and when it develops. But we know that there are certain causes that actually potentially make the Parkinson's disease worse. And one of them is pesticide exposure. People in the business of using this, like in terms of extermination, people with landscapers, we've seen a lot of this. And over the years, I've treated many people. We also know that head trauma is one of the things. Certain medications can also actually change the biochemistry of particular things in the brain, thereby causing the brain to misfire and people get the shaking. Prolonged oxidative stress. Everybody knows about oxidative stress, right? Because I talk about what? Chronic inflammation, right? Putting out the fire, John. So things like Lyme disease can maybe trigger it. Homocysteine levels. How many times have you heard, does your physician run your homocysteine level? Well, we run it a lot in our office because I'm interested in histamine response. Because why? That's telling me the body is responding to inflammation, outside inflammation. Something's causing the body to be inflamed, and it could be showing up in the neurodegenerative diseases. Genetic variations, elevated levels of L-DOPA, which we know is in the brain. It's one of the hormones in the brain. But here's an interesting one, John. B6 deficiency. How many people get tested for their B6?
Probably not a lot, right?
No, not a lot. If you come in to see me and you're having some neurological problems, we're going to test for that. And, of course, heavy metal exposures. So there's a lot of cause and effect here. So this particular patient comes to us. He lives in North Jersey, and he happens to be the brother of one of my medical directors. He's a sweet guy, and we just started him. But it's extremely important that people realize this is going to be a process. We have to start by obviously detoxing some of these particular problems. And then what we have to do is then go after rebuilding the communication between the neurons that actually then effectuate the shaking, etc.
All right, we're going to go to the phones. We have John in Mount Laurel.
Good.
John, good morning. Welcome to Health Watch. You're on with Dr. Molly.
Hey, John.
Good morning. How you doing, Dr. Molly? You're
Good.
on the air. You've been on all day.
Thank God.
While I'm on, I wanted a couple of weeks ago. I was in and I was talking with Kathy, and you were walking around, and we were talking about waking up, not being able to sleep. So you gave me a package of homeopathic sleep medication, Sleep
Yes.
Calm.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it really does help. It really does. I took 2 last night at 9 o'clock, and I usually get to bed at 11 o'clock, 11:30. And by 10 o'clock, I was in bed. I had to go to bed.
Hey, John, that's because you work too hard, man. You work hard, right?
Well, no, I'm back at the gym, so that helps.
Good.
When I work out at the gym, that does help. But I just want to let you know that and it's homeopathic. It doesn't have any melatonin in it.
Nope, nothing.
Yeah.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
You know what? I respect that particular product a lot. That's why I gave you this. Whatever, that's interesting, John, because if I have samples or I have things in that I used and I can help the patients and give them a sleeve of something, we try to do that. God bless God bless Barb. We really have a full, she knows her supplements. So I appreciate you telling me about the homeopathic because, again, we use homeopathics IV as well. And God bless you, John.
Well,
you sound great.
I can't leave the clinic without going and say goodbye to Barbara.
That's right. She's the best.
Dear.
God bless you.
John,
Thank you for
take
calling.
care.
Thank you, John.
That really
Thanks for
helped
the
us
call.
out too, John,
Yeah, it
calling
did.
because I want to make sure we're getting other messages that we're not on. I thank you. That's very.
It's interesting because we got a panic call that we weren't.
Yeah,
on the
that's
air.
why I had to
Right.
leave the booth here. So okay,
And you're
I'm
whispering
very
to
happy.
me we're not on the air,
Right.
and we're being told we are on the air.
That's
so anyway,
great.
now
That's
we know
great.
we have verification from John.
But of course, and you know what? I appreciate John. So back to the neurodegenerative diseases. So again, I have another patient who comes in and she has ALS. Now that's a very, very tough road to hoe. And unfortunately, she's had the diagnosis for over 7 years. That should have, somebody who has these really dastardly kind of neurodegenerative diseases, the earlier you get in, the more likely we can help you maintain a certain quality of life, because it is very difficult when the body has fallen into a certain type of rhythm and also fallen into a situation where they're depleted of so many of the nutrients that they may need to help their situation. So obviously, John, the earlier people get in with these, the better the outcome.
A question about your protocols and with regards to Parkinson's and a lot of the neurodegenerative diseases that you talk about. Your protocol calls for regenerative and hydration.
Correct.
All right. What has been the results so far from people you've worked with?
The thing I can tell you with the MS patients, it's been phenomenal. And Dr. Pat is one of the patients. She and I are actually putting together we're co-authoring something that hopefully goes into one of the integrative journals this quarter. She's doing so well. And again, now, she doesn't just do the one thing. I'm back to what I believe. She does some conventional, but she's able to reduce her needs for the MS medications, which actually have a whole lot of side effects, and then also augment that with what we're doing with the regenerative medicine that we delivered, as well as the hydration. And by the way, she never misses a week for her hydration.
I know.
Not 1 week, because she knows it works.
She is the poster child for
the change.
For the
right?
change, yes.
For the change. Remember, she came in as a patient,
yes.
and she wasn't doing well. In fact, she was not doing so well that she actually retired from her pain management
I remember that
practice. Yeah. And so lucky for me, she did. I said it was a roundabout thing. She said, "It's okay, Molly, because I know that this is where I belong. We've got to talk about this."
We are at the halfway point of our show, which means there's plenty of time for you to call in with a question or a comment or a medical challenge you want to run by Dr. Molly. 855-839-1210 is the number, 855-839-1210. It's Health Watch every Sunday, 8 till 9, here on Talk Radio 1210. And as always, Dr. Molly Fantasia is here, the Ph.D. doctor, the executive director, and the founder of Innovative Medical Associates, Marlton, New Jersey. We are returning with more of today's edition of Health Watch after these words.
This program is paid for by Innovative Medical Associates.
And we're back here on Health Watch. Operator standing by right now at Innovative Medical Associates, 856-489-0505 is the number, 856-489-0505. You can call right now if you would like to make an appointment to sit down with Dr. Molly, or you can call after 9 o'clock. Operators will be there well after we leave you at 9 o'clock. You can call this afternoon if you like, but 856-489-0505 is the number. Innovative Medical Associates, Marlton, New Jersey. And remember, you can check out the web too, innovativemedicalassociates.com, innovativemedicalassociates.com. And check out Dr. Molly's skincare line. It's summertime, and you're going to need her sun protection product. It's really great. I've used it, and it's prevented me from sunburn. So we want to mention that to you as well. Check out the whole line. InnovativeMedicalAssociates.com is the website. And our show, of course, is Health Watch every Sunday, 8 till 9, Talk Radio 1210. You want to talk to Dr. Molly right now, 855-839-1210. You have an interesting patient, and I know you wanted to run this by us. This is really another difficult case.
Oh, it's going to be a very difficult case. This was a very interesting thing. My maintenance guy is just a wonderful guy. John, also another John, and he brought a friend of his in, and Dr. Molly, being who I am, and my wonderful physicians and people who work with me, I said, "I'll bring him in. We'll squeeze him in, and I want to see what's going on." He had lymphedema in his legs that, all I can tell you, John, they were so swollen that they appeared to be, if you've ever seen the movie that Cher was in about Elephant Man.
Yes.
His legs were that large, John, that large. They were so enlarged. So obviously I was like, whoa, look at this. And God is good. God is good all the time. I happen to have one of my patients is training to become a nurse practitioner, and she's doing her clinical with my medical director at my facility. So she was there that day, but she's also a certified wound nurse. So I had her look at these legs. She and I were like aghast at this. And of course, what I loved about her, she did an absolutely conventional type of exam. So she said to him, "What are you doing for this?" He explained he was doing a wrap. She explained, "You're not doing it correctly. Who's helping you with this?" He goes, "Nobody. I've gone to 4 or 5 different physicians, and none of them had said anything about the wrap." Okay, she straightened that out. She also said, "Listen, we have to be very careful here because he's so swollen that he's leaking out his lymphatic juice out of there, right? The lymphs are opening up and it looks inflamed, and he's getting a small wound on the back of the leg." She redressed the wound for him. And we then referred him over to a lymphedema specialist who actually is a doctor of physical therapy who actually does lymphatic type drainage. This is very important. And she went through a thing about what he should be doing at home. So what I asked him to do was go see another physician who's also involved, because I believe he says he doesn't have diabetes, but I don't believe it. And I think he needs to go be checked out by an endocrine guy, because he's also about 400 pounds, John. So can you imagine that weight on those legs? So I need to make sure that we put him on some kind of diet that works for him. So I want him to see a conventional endocrine as well as a conventional primary care physician. He told me he has one. I said, "You go back to that patient, that doc, and then we'll put you in a program here." But I need to make sure that he's able to do it.
So there's a lot going on there.
Oh, my gosh, yes. And the point I want to make is how important our lymphatics are, John. His legs are swollen at all the lymphatic. He's also swollen in all his areas, under his armpits, everywhere. Something's going on here. But also he needs to lose the weight, no question.
So this is a comprehensive situation where,
right,
you've
where
got
I'm
a
not
lot
just,
of...
Do you think I'm going to just throw this guy in the chair?
No.
There's the question.
No, right.
That's the point of this whole conversation. Here's a guy who came in. I had his wounds checked by the wound care nurse, who was a lovely woman. I had a conversation with my medical director, and I said, "This guy has to be seen." He gave me the name of 2 physicians he said he needs to go to, which I told him and gave him the names. And actually, Barbara tried to call and make the appointments. The facility that we sent him to said they'd prefer the patient to call directly. We gave him the numbers. We wrapped him up, and he was safer when he left us than he was, and he got more information than he got at any other physician's office.
And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show, and I was telling you about my experience. What you do is a comprehensive look at everything. I mean, you don't just say, "Hey, listen, how about some hydration today?"
Yeah, how about getting in the chair? Yeah. And I had another interesting case this week. That the way you said that, a young man called, and he had seen us about a year ago, and he said at that time he just was coming in for a well kind of a well drip. And I said, okay, he was really tight. He was a nice guy. He's a funeral director. He was so busy that he thought it was just fatigue, etc., during the height of the pandemic, right? And he said nobody would see him. And I believe he was doing God's work. So I said, come on in, we'll try to get you in. That's not something we normally do. But during the pandemic, I just thought it was the right thing to do. He came in, he was young, he was vital, good vitals. The nurse checked him out and we put him in the chair. He called me again this year. He just came back and he said, I went to see another integrative doctor. I'm just not quite myself. I can't seem to get over the fatigue from last year. It was very hectic. I said, you need a comprehensive program. He signed up for our program. We started the blood work. I believe what he's suffering from is probably a form of chronic fatigue fibromyalgia. And again, I think his lymphatic system has been overtaxed given all the work he was doing and the stress of doing it during that pandemic. So, I mean, you talk about oxidative stress. Here's a guy I'm sure had it. So he's now a patient.
So again, it's the comprehensive look at everything.
Exactly.
It's not just come in, get hydration, go home.
Exactly right. And I really don't want to have a clinic like that.
And you've always stressed that it's a medical facility.
We're
right.
a primary care facility, and I want it to behave like that.
Yeah. There's a billboard, by the way, in South Jersey. And I always think of you when I go by it. And it says, come in and get something, hydration and Botox.
Yeah, well,
no.
Listen, I have nothing against Botox, and I have nothing against, taking care. Obviously, I wouldn't have a skin line out, but I want it to be all natural. God bless us.
Right.
But, I don't have anything against anybody who does that. But the bottom line is we are not that. And that's all. We are not that. So I think that, given the type of people that we see, I feel that our outcomes are exceptional.
What's the best outcome you've had so far? I mean, so far, 26 years, right?
I think
on 27.
I think one of the I have too numerous to count in terms of quality of life. In terms of functional medicine, I've had many. I mean, I have people who have the cancer supportive program, and the idea is we want to keep them going through whatever they choose to do, whether conventional chemotherapy, radiation, whatever. We also want to make sure we support them in their decisions. So, for example, I have a patient, Julie, who is a breast cancer patient. She had the surgery. And just recently, she went back to see one of the oncologists who said he thought one of her lymph nodes was swollen, and he thought it was judicious to do a biopsy. I was looking at Julie, and I thought, well, that's judicious. Do it. Here, the biopsy came back negative. The only thing that was happening was it was inflamed. It was enlarged because it was inflamed. Why was it inflamed? Because we were giving her lymphatic drains. We were helping with the cancer, and she was thrilled. There was no cancer found on the biopsy.
How many times have you gotten this from patients? Well, I went to so-and-so doctor, and he said, you got a couple months to live, or
God,
a couple of months, and then they come in, and then 6 years later, they're still in your chair.
Right, but you know what the thing is, John, as I say all the time, I don't understand anybody who doesn't give a patient hope, number one. Not false hope, but hope. And also doesn't want to improve the quality of time no matter what it is. You got to remember, in my mind, I believe the man upstairs is the true physician. And that's what I believe. And I'm a believer, and I'm not ashamed to say it, because I've seen miracles.
Yeah, you have.
And it's not cure. Sometimes miracles are not cure. Sometimes miracles are longevity, time enough to spend time with the grandkids, time enough to do the things that they wanted on their bucket list, and feel good about doing it.
All right, we're coming up on our final break of the morning, which means you still have time to call in if you have a question for Dr. Molly, a medical challenge you want to run by her. This is the time to do it, 855-839-1210. That's our number here, 855-839-1210. The program is called Health Watch. You'll find us here every Sunday, our live version, 8 till 9, here on Talk Radio 1210, WPH.D. With Dr. Molly Fantasia, I'm your host, John DeMasi. 855-839-1210 is the number. We're both returning with more of today's Health Watch after these words. And we're back here on Health Watch. Operators are standing by right now at Innovative Medical Associates. And the number, as always, is 856-489-0505. 856-489-0505. Give them a call. You want to set up an appointment to sit down with Dr. Molly. The initial consultation is complimentary, and that's really how you can get all the information you need pertaining to your specific medical challenge. 856-489-0505. And the website, innovativemedicalassociates.com. innovativemedicalassociates.com is the website. Don't forget, if you miss any of today's show or you want to hear it again, we have our Health Watch replay this afternoon from 4 until 5 here on Talk Radio 1210. But we still have some time to take your calls at 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. We're going to talk about why I never got my tonsils out many years ago. Okay, we'll talk about that.
You see, you had a pretty smart doc.
Yeah,
okay, back in the day.
But we're going to go to the phones. Joe is in Mount Airy. Joe, good morning.
Joe.
Welcome to Health
Hi, Joe.
Watch. You're on with Dr.
Good
Molly.
morning. Good morning to my favorite people. Good morning, Dr. Molly
good morning,
and John. How y'all doing?
Good, we're good.
Hey, Joe, I got to ask you a question.
John.
I
Sure.
heard a rumor that you're running for mayor of Mount Airy. Is that true?
You should
I
be,
wish,
man.
If I could only be so lucky. But, it's funny when I ask that, John, because I do vote in every election. I'm mayor, president,
Thank God.
governor. I don't miss off-year elections. I don't miss no election. Remember, I broke the polls for 5 years before I finally stepped down in 2020 and stuff. But thanks for saying that, John. I appreciate that. I just want to say real quick about this, the big ruling of the week, the Supreme Court ruling. If y'all don't mind.
Oh, yeah.
I consider it a healthcare issue as well because it's done for woman's body.
Sure.
One of the ladies, I didn't go to the protest, but I wound up in it because I was coming from downtown helping a friend of mine who has a newsstand down there. So I ran into the protest. I told one of the ladies, Caucasian lady I was talking to, and we had an honest conversation. I told her, I said, look, the one of the three Abrahamic religions, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. I happen to be a Muslim. I said, my religion, I don't agree with abortion, except in cases of, incest or rape or whatever like that.
Of course.
I said, however, and I was very clear on this, I said, however, I support y'all because I do not think a man have a right to tell a woman what to do with her body. I just feel strong about that because, who is you? Who am me as a senator or president or whomever to tell a woman what she can? If she make a decision, Dr. Molly and John,
Right.
she got to live with that.
That's right.
She has to live with that guilt and stuff like that. So I don't want to be in a position where I have to tell a woman what she can do with her body. So that's all I want to share with you and John this morning.
I
Joe.
appreciate
Joe,
that.
thank you for the
know
call.
What, Joe,
You're
thank
welcome.
you so much.
Thanks
and
for sharing that with us.
Thank you. And you know what? Lots of folks do believe like
Absolutely.
Joe.
So before we were talking before the show, and you said, you remember when we were kids, everybody had their tonsils out. Well, I didn't.
Right.
My
And
mother
you were
and father
smart.
said, why?
Well, God gave them to you. You might as well keep
Right.
them. Well, I agree with
but
that.
You were telling me that they are important now.
They're definitely important. Listen, one of the amazing parts of our body that we don't talk about enough is the lymphatic system. It's very, very important. It's one of these things that I dwell on all the time, no matter what patient comes in. First of all, the lymphatic system is part of our immune system, and our immune system is very important. Why? Because it helps fight some of the things that can cause cancer, cause conditions, chronic conditions like bacteria, viruses, those kinds of things. Of course, during the pandemic, that was the key. You have to understand that this lymphatic system removes all of this waste and toxins from the tissues and puts it back into the bloodstream so that the liver can flush it out through the bowels, kidneys, lungs, and skin. So you can see how important. It communicates with the lymphatic system. It communicates with the immune system to monitor and signal increase or decrease inflammatory processes. So it releases the white blood cells that monitor and destroy foreign invaders. Now, the lymph nodes are little hubs. Think of your lymphatics as a little circular train track, right? Like when we were kids, the little trains around the trees, right? And the hubs are found in places like the armpits, the neck, the abdomen. Guess what? When they're swollen, there's an issue of some kind. Now, it has to collect the excess fluid that drains from the cells and the tissues, return them to the blood supply. So if you have any of the lymph nodes removed, you're aware of the good job it does, because when they remove them, it's generally because they're positive for the CA, which means what? They're fighting it, right? So here's the deal. You have approximately 600 of these all around. So let's look at this. Which ones are important? Well, the lymph itself, that's the fluid, that's the lymphatic fluid. The lymph nodes, which we have about 600 of them. The lymph vessels, they're a network of capillaries that are smaller type things that transport the lymph away from the tissues. The collection ducts, that's important. These go to the subclavian vein, which is up here, near the shoulder. Then we have the spleen, we have the thymus, and then we have the tonsils and adenoids, right? They trap things from food and air. They're the first line of defense. That's why you don't want them removed, right? And
obviously important.
Important.
Right.
Bone marrow. Everyone knows that. In the bone marrow, we have it. We have something called prior patches. They're lymphatic little patches of tissue in the mucous membranes that line the intestines. Very important. And what do? They monitor, destroy bacteria, the bad bacteria in the intestines. And, of course, the appendix. And the appendix is an interesting organ. I have a patient who had cancer in the appendix. Do you think her lymph nodes were overworking? Yeah, bet. And thank God she's 100% at this point, what she would call cancer-free. She's just had her checkup. And by the way, she had the appendix out. She did not want to do any chemo, even though the doctor, the oncologist told her to do it. She decided she never missed. She followed a complete regimen, a complete change of diet. She's a yoga instructor, so you know she's getting the right kind of exercise, etc. So there are many, many reasons why the lymphatic system is extremely important, John.
So when we're talking about the lymph nodes, obviously very, very important.
Yes.
What do you do? Is there anything you suggest patients do to keep them healthy?
I have a complete protocol for moving the lymphatic system at any given time. It is part of my cancer supportive protocol. It becomes part of the chronic disease protocol, and it really is a standalone. It's, as I like to say, it's a standalone bag for enhancing the immune response. So it's a very important system, and I think people don't pay enough attention to it until they lose them. And then they start to pay attention, John.
It's like you don't pay attention until something's broke.
Exactly.
That's
Which
really
is why I said in the beginning of the show, the quicker you get in if you're having a chronic condition, the better outcome we can give you to improve your quality of life.
And I wanted to get back to that particular patient you were talking about who had cancer in the appendix. I know this patient.
She's a great gal.
I mean, and let me tell you something. She is another poster child.
She's
vibrant for
vibrant.
your facility and for healthy living.
And you know what? I actually call her husband affectionately Dr. Eric, because he's so smart. He read everything I asked him to read. Beyond that, he actually prepares some of this. She's also on cannabis. Very important, which actually is very, very good if used appropriately. I mean, she's done everything correctly.
And that's really what you want from patients.
Exactly.
And that's why you do what you do.
Exactly.
To kind of help them.
I want to augment what they're doing at home, and I want to enhance their quality of life. And this young lady shows us that it can be done.
And she's doing it.
And she's doing it.
Yeah, and the ones that are successful, and I mean, you've had a lot of success stories.
Sure.
But the ones that are successful follow the protocols.
Exactly. Don't make up your protocol. Come on in and get an actual game plan. That's the important thing. The important thing is, look, no matter what, John, if you have a chronic condition, you can't stick your head in the ground and say, oh, I'm just going to live with it. No, come in, get some advice. Let's see what we can do, because I have patients who will tell you themselves, listen, I can't take the minds of everybody I have in that clinic.
That's right.
You got it.
Yes.
They're pretty thinking people. people here, right?
Any final thoughts today?
Well, I think
as we approach a July 4th holiday?
I have a lot of thoughts, but we're not going to talk about them over the radio, right? Because that could get us into a whole lot of trouble. But you know where we stand, and as I said before, please, God is the great physician, and I believe the man upstairs has a game plan for everyone. And if we just tap into the prayer and we look at what we're doing, we can help you improve your quality of life.
And speaking of God's Ingredients, title of your books.
Thank you,
God's
John.
Ingredients, My 30-Year Journey in IV Nutritional Medicine, 2 books.
Thank
you can get them checking out the Dr. Molly's website, innovativemedicalassociates.com. That's the website, innovativemedicalassociates.com. And that is going to put the wraps on another edition of Health Watch. Don't forget, operators are standing by right now at Innovative Medical Associates at 856-489-0505. And like we always tell you, just because we leave you on the program doesn't mean they go home. They're there. So feel free to call 856-489-0505, 856-489-0505. And again, the website, innovativemedicalassociates.com, innovativemedicalassociates.com. Don't forget our Health Watch replay this afternoon from 4 until 5 here on Talk Radio 1210. For Dr. Molly Fantasia and everyone at Innovative Medical Associates, the lovely Linda, Barbara, delightful Dee, Joanne, fabulous Fran, and our nurses Jess and Lana, and our medical assistant caring Kathy, I'm your host John DeMasi. Thanks for listening. Have yourself a great week and a healthy one. We'll do it all over again next Sunday. Health Watch, 8 till 9, Talk Radio 1210. Take care.
This program is paid for by Innovative Medical Associates. All opinions or statements expressed on the program are solely those of Innovative Medical Associates or their guests and do not reflect the opinions of WPH.D or Odyssey.